Howdy, and welcome to Eastern Kentucky. When it comes time for a fall camping trip, I love heading to Appalachia. The tree-covered mountains offer a chorus of fall colors and lots of places to enjoy them. If you're looking for an out-of-the-way place to pitch your tent, you're in luck, because we're going camping in Old Kentucky. My first stop was Kingdom Come State Park. It's located near the Kentucky-Virginia border next to the city of Cumberland. The park is situated on the crest of Pine Mountain. A curvy two-lane road takes you to the top of Pine Mountain and Kentucky's highest state park. It's a small park consisting of 1,300 acres. Its highest point is about 2,800 feet. A 3.5-acre mountaintop lake provides a quiet spot to fish for bass, bluegill, and trout. The black bear population of eastern Kentucky has increased dramatically in recent years. Spend much time at Kingdom Come State Park, and you stand a good chance of seeing one or two. There are 4 campsites side by side in a small, heavily wooded hollow. There is zero privacy between them, but the good news is people seldom camp here, and it's a beautiful spot. Each site has a picnic table, fire ring, lantern post, and tent pad. A bear-proof garbage can and bathrooms are close by. In the mornings, it's not uncommon for the valleys to fill with fog. Only mountaintops rise above the fog level. Kingdom Come State Park gets its name from the novel The Little Shepherd of Kingdom Come, written by John Fox Jr. Popular in the early 1900s, the story was about an orphaned youth and his journey through the Kentucky mountains and into the chaos of the Civil War. Fox included many descriptive passages of foggy mornings like this one. Kingdom Come is a park of short trails and scenic vistas. Some you can drive to, and Bullock Overlook even has handicap access. The fall colors were starting to show up here in the mountains. You never know from year to year and place to place exactly when the colors will peak. I was going to cover eastern Kentucky like a glove and videotape Mother Nature painting the hills and mountains. There are some interesting rock outcrops at the park. Log Rock is a sandstone natural bridge. It resembles a petrified tree that has fallen over. Something I bring for cooking over an open fire is my own grill. I can place it over the park grill and know that I have a clean surface to cook on. Here's some gear that doesn't take up much room in your vehicle, but may save you a lot of misery on a camping trip. Always bring several plastic tarps of different sizes, bungee cords, and plenty of rope. Next, I traveled to Cumberland Gap National Historical Park. The park is located where Kentucky, Tennessee, and Virginia meet at the Cumberland Gap, a small opening in the Appalachian Mountains. The campground is situated on a heavily wooded sloping ridgeline. I had a great step-down campsite. Each site has a picnic table and fire ring. There are hot showers and flush toilets nearby. It's a large campground, but I had plenty of privacy. Hot showers and good privacy makes for a quality place to camp, and this was a quality place to camp. A system of trails spurs directly from the campground. The Lewis Hollow Trail was a 5-mile hike to the pinnacle, overlooking Cumberland Gap. It's mostly an uphill trek with an elevation gain of 1,200 feet. Not an easy climb. As a bonus, the trail passes by Skylight Cave.
cave was easily visible from the trail. It had an opening about 15 feet wide and 5 feet high. It was just big enough to see inside a little ways and get my curiosity all worked up. Inside, the skylight and opening provided just enough light for me to capture images while using the night vision function on my camera. It wasn't hard to imagine Native Americans camped here to escape rough weather. The gap was long used by Native Americans as many migratory animals passed through it each year. It was fertile hunting territory, and it was the only easy cut through the mountains from the southern wintering grounds of deer and buffalo to their northern summer range. In the 1770s, as many as 300,000 settlers poured through the gap as it became the first great gateway to the west. Soon other travel routes opened and the gap decreased in importance. The trail passes by a parking lot and morphs into a walkway. Most people drive to the pinnacle and miss out on a good hike. Not us. The small town of Cumberland Gap, Tennessee is on the east side of the gap, which is now closed to traffic, and Middlesboro, Kentucky lies to the west. It rained a lot when I was here, and my plastic tarps came in handy. I used the biggest piece to construct a rain fly over my tent. It's important to create a rain fly that is angled so no water puddles up on the plastic. It helps to have plenty of tie-ups, although campsites vary as far as what is available to tie up to. I got on the Daniel Boone Trail and hiked a short distance to Tri-State Point.
Here at Cumberland Gap National Park, you're never quite sure what state you're in. But right now I'm sure because I'm at Tri-State Point. This is where Tennessee, Virginia, and Kentucky all meet. Right now I'm in Tennessee. Right now I'm in Virginia. And right now I'm in Kentucky.
My next stop was Big South Fork National River and Recreation Area. It's located in Kentucky and Tennessee and protects the Big South Fork of the Cumberland River. Kentucky was in its second year of drought, and the water level was low. The boat ramp was closed, and the only thing open at Allen Ford was the campground. It's a primitive campground strung along a dead-end gravel road on the edge of a river gorge. There were 6 campsites, each with a picnic table, fire ring, and lantern post. Facilities here include an outhouse, and that's it. There is no running water. I pitched my tent at a downslope campsite and strapped on my hiking boots. The master path of Kentucky, the 268-mile Sheltowee Trace, passes right through the campground. The trail is marked by turtle signs. Sheltowee means big turtle. That's the nickname the Shawnee gave Daniel Boone. I was just going to hike a couple miles in to Yahoo Falls. Considering how dry it was here, I wasn't expecting to see much water falling. The trail leads to an immense rock house where the sandstone has been fracturing and dropping sections of rock for eons. Ancient Americans resided here as far back as 9,000 years ago. They lived by the falls, which this day was only a trickle. There is a large waterfall in the area, too far to hike, but a great place to drive to for a day trip. Cumberland Falls is usually about 125 feet wide and drops 68 feet. You can use the people on the left as a point of reference as to how big the waterfall actually is. After an enjoyable day at Cumberland Falls, I returned to Allen Ford Campground. I was the only camper here, which made me the only human for miles. Times like this, when I'm totally detached from modern society, I do my deepest thinking. I go inward for quiet moments of self-reflection, and outward to better understand my place in the universe.
My camping experience here has been excellent. This is a great campsite, and I've enjoyed a high level of peace and solitude. Of course, maybe it helps that I'm the only one here. Or maybe I'm not.
I journeyed north in the Daniel Boone National Forest to the Red River Geological Area. It consists of 29,000 acres surrounding the middle section of the Red River. It was dry in these parts too. Kentucky usually receives a generous annual rainfall, so 2 years of drought wasn't the norm. The lower elevations seemed to suffer the most. I stayed at Coomer Ridge Campground, a nice spot with one big flaw. It was built next to a highway. The campsites are good size and most have plenty of privacy. Some have views and all have traffic noise. So let's just play some of that good old Kentucky bluegrass and check things out. I camped at a walk-in site where the fall colors were blazing. All sites had a table, fire ring, lantern post, and tent pad. There were hot showers and flush toilets close by. Several trails led out of the campground. The Hidden Arch Trail swings around a bluff line to a small arch, then connects with Coomer Ridge Trail, the main trail in the geological area. Hidden Arch was small, but will continue to get larger as the centuries pass. The trail continued through a philodendron grove, and then up to the Coomer Ridge Trail. In the Appalachian foothills, the trees on the hilltops were loaded with color while leaves were falling in the canyons. The intricate canyon system features an abundance of high sandstone cliffs and natural bridges. The multitude of sandstone cliff lines have helped this area become one of the East's top rock climbing destinations. As daylight was disappearing, I found myself at Sky Bridge. It's a solid rock span stretching across the top of a thin ridge. This was a big structure. Although the stairs were steep, it was worth the climb to get a below-bridge view. Tunnel Ridge Road leads through an old railroad tunnel and comes out the other side of the hill. Despite traffic noise, an abundance of hiking trails leaving the campground made Coomer Ridge a worthwhile place to camp. The fall colors made it a really good one. Natural Bridge State Park is just up the highway. The gorge area has the highest concentration of natural bridges east of the Rocky Mountains, and this was one of the largest. The view must be pretty good up top. If the band will play a little traveling music, we'll go see what we can see. Take your shoes off and sit a spell longer. I'll be right back with more from Eastern Kentucky. I returned to Kingdom Come State Park. The weather forecast was for possible snow in eastern Kentucky. It was only October 30th, and if it was going to snow, I guess the mountaintops would get it first, and I wanted to be there if it did. I pitched my tent and immediately built a fire. It was cold up here. It's snowing. It's a snowy night here on the mountaintop. Having a lot of fun. Hey, it's not even Halloween yet, but it sure seems like Christmas. By the light of morning, my hunch that snow would only reach the mountaintops proved correct, and I was camped on one of those mountaintops. The trees kept a lot of snow from hitting the ground. In spots, 1.5 to 2 inches fell through. Just a light dusting, but it brought a certain sense of serenity with it. My human heart felt it, and so did the wildlife, as they dropped by to bid me a good morning. Other than the park ranger, I was the only human who spent the night on the mountaintop. This was one magical fall morning. It was time to climb Ravens Rock, a 300-foot monolith perched on top of Pine Mountain. It's mostly at a 45-degree angle. The rock has a few different sections. You climb one, then forge your way through a narrow tree line and climb another. The last part to get to the top is much steeper than 45 degrees. It's a stiff climb up that rock, but the view is a great payoff. Behind me is Black Mountain, the highest point in Kentucky. Top of Ravens Rock is the highest point in the park at just under 2,800 feet. Black Mountain has an elevation just over 4,000 feet. After sunset, bears become active. As it gets dark, they are hard to see, but they can see you. They have good night vision. Bears prefer to avoid human contact, but your paths might cross. If a bear lunges or slaps at the ground or brush with paw, it feels threatened. You're too close. Back off slowly. No sudden moves. Don't set off the bear's instincts. Bears are good tree climbers and swimmers. They can run up to 35 miles per hour and are incredibly strong. Bears have a sense of smell 7 times greater than a bloodhound and can smell food for miles. There had been a group eating at this picnic ground earlier. The bear waited till they left and it started getting dark before it came looking for some grub. Folks who were here did a good job cleaning up and putting the remains in the bear-proof garbage cans. Bear-proof garbage cans are made of heavy-gauge steel anchored in cement. They have latches that bear paws can't fit in or operate. The bear can smell the food, but can't get to it and leaves frustrated. Bear-proof garbage cans beat the plastic ones, hands down. When it comes time for a fall camping trip, I love heading to Appalachia. The tree-covered mountains offer up a chorus of fall colors and lots of places to enjoy them. Hey, wait a minute. Those were my opening lines, and I'm closing this show down. But now at least you really know what I'm talking about. The cold weather had let me know it was time to head south. Kentucky's a hard place to leave, but I've camped here many times, and I know someday I'll be back and find another beautiful place to pitch my tent. And that makes me a happy camper.